Thanks for clicking back in. Today on the interior of the Victress, I'm going to show you how I designed and built the new center console using both kinds of CAD and absolutely no sewing. So stick around, I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, so back on the interior design, it's time to fill in the space here with some sort of center console. I first made a cardboard-aided design mock-up of what I need and want to do. It'll have 4 sections. First, the shifter bezel has to be in a very certain position to ensure that the gear indicator window will line up with the indicator tab on the shifter. I mocked that up in foam board first and tested it, and then made it for real in 1/4-inch Luan plywood and got that fixed in place. Now here's what I have left for space. There's an opening for a parking brake, a small storage bin made from ABS, a power port for a cell phone charger, a place for power window switches, and an armrest with storage below. The whole thing is just made of MDF and plywood, screwed and glued together, nothing fancy. A lot of videos out there better than I could show you on how to do this. Just remember, leave room for lots of wires to go under. So, how to fill in this last front section where there's not a lot of space available. I do like the look of some of the 60s Ferrari 250s where many of these were race cars that got converted to street use, and they've added this very small console for some basic switches and radios, and of course an ashtray, always an ashtray. Here I've mocked up my version. You can see the big X there is the size of a single DIN radio that fits in there. Not a lot of extra room. So then going from mock-up to plywood, I got some birch plywood and I curved and steamed it and bent it so I could make it in one piece with just these 2 small lateral connections. And then, of course, made a plywood DIN radio, a box for now for storage. And then I've got just enough room for 4 switches and a small analog clock. The switches are going to be fog lights and a cooling fan and maybe interior lighting. I don't know, maybe a passenger ejection switch or something. Not really sure yet, but definitely not an ashtray. I have to install a console in 2 pieces to fit in there, so the front section will be covered separately from the main console. Another little detail is I made a removable box that drops into the armrest that'll hide the wiring underneath. So here's the front plate for framework covered in vinyl over the foam, and then here's the removable cover. I didn't want to upholster the whole thing as one piece, or else I couldn't get it behind there and do all the wiring connections. I'll probably attach this just with some strong magnets. Next, I have another design detail in mind, which is a metal trim plate as seen in some of the cars of that 60s era, like Jaguars and Corvettes. The plate will be the same aluminum finished as the dashboard cluster, which should unify the interior design. So after a lot of measuring, I drew that up in NanoCAD and printed the full-size templates to check and refine the dimensions. Then for the middle section, I'll have a faceplate that goes over the 2 openings, and that'll trim those off. Of course, there'll be a leather boot for the parking brake. There will also be another section of this faceplate that goes up along the front of the armrest to cover where the power window switches go. Those 2 faces will be bent from one piece. I just couldn't print them in one piece. The window switches are from Watson Streetworks, very nice pieces I found on eBay, new in a package for the original price. I've got that all wired up, and they also come with a nice brushed aluminum bezel, which I've kind of already fit into the console with a template they give you, so I can get all the wiring all done. I think when I put the aluminum plate on, I don't know if I'll be able to get all that to line up, so I'll just cut away the wood backing, and the bezel will be attached to the aluminum plate itself. So now it's off to send, cut, send. First, I created the part as a single piece, which helped to visualize the finished look. And then working through setting the angles and everything. There's a really good bending tool there in a tutorial if you don't know about bending sheet metal, but there is bending losses, and ignore the warnings at your own peril. But you do have to measure carefully and adjust the dimensions for the losses as the part will shorten up. But anyway, here in one piece, this is what it would look like. ultimately I decided to do it in two pieces and not have another piece of faceplate underneath the shifter bezel, because I just felt like getting all of those bends to line up exactly would be next to impossible. So I actually ordered this in two different pieces. All right, it's Christmas. Parts have arrived from Senkatsen. Always fun time. Sour punch. These are the console faceplates. All right. The plan would be, like I did for the dashboard, to go ahead and bevel the edges, file and sand and make them nice and smooth, and then do like another brush finish on it. That looks pretty good. I will unwrap the other one, then I'll do a little closer look. Alright, so this is the bent piece. This is the first time I've had anything bent from them. I do expect there to be witness marks from the bend, which there is, but that's on the inside in this case. The outside looks very clean. And that looks like a perfect fit. Very nice. Let's get a closer look here. Alright, well, here first on the front plate, you can see it's a really nice tight fit. I'm going to put the clock in here. Once the clock is in there, that should center everything. The holes look pretty good. Well, it looks nice and even on either side. On this future radio slot, I ended up cutting this opening a little smaller than DIN spec, because for now I just want to have just a storage pocket, and I want to cover the edge of this box. If I end up putting a DIN radio, I can always open this up a little bit, because it should have a faceplate that covers it. Looks like those switch holes will line up nice. I'll have to test those out. Over here, nice spacing here. This covers the edge of that pocket really well. Looks like the, oops, find it. Looks like the angle is a good match. I do have screw holes that I put in to hold this piece in place. I'm going to use some stainless steel oval heads. What I didn't have them do is I didn't have them chamfer the holes, but I will go ahead and do that myself, because I wasn't sure what I was going to use for hardware. But I'm going to use those. Those will match the screws that are in this bezel. As far as the holes for the power window switches, they look real good. But I still think it'd be easier to just go ahead and try to take out this extra wood here and then just attach to the to that plate. So I'll have to test fit that bezel in there. So let's put this thing together. Well, here's the mostly finished console installed in the car. I love the look, and especially how it complements the gauge cluster and fills in the space under the vintage air AC unit. I have a few minor details to finish on the console and a whole lot more interior work yet to come. Go ahead and subscribe and get notified to keep up to date on this unique build. As always, thanks for watching.